Welcome back, and so let's get right into our first conversation, and we're looking at the state of things within the Labour Party, especially ahead of the 2027 general elections. And recall that days ago, the Court of Appeal had dismissed the suit filed by the erstwhile, if you like, contended leader of the party, Mr. Julius Aburi, challenging the leadership of the Nanadi Usman-led group. And so let's find out the state of things as far as that is concerned. And joining us virtually this morning is the National Vice Chairman of the party, Mr. Bayomi Arabambi, who joins us virtually. Good morning, Mr. Arabambi. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes, the Vice Chairman, Southwest. So, Mr. Arabambi, against the backdrop of that Court of Appeal decision, which was challenged by your group, actually, we've also seen that INEC officials visited the headquarters of the party to find out the state of things, to verify tenancy, the leadership of the party. Is this perhaps a move, to abide by the Court of Appeal's decision? And where does that leave the Abure group, your group?
Well, it is just a routine checkup as done by INEC and as prescribed by the Electoral Act and the Constitution of Nigeria. So we are not perturbed about that because we are doing our registration. We are also on the registration portal. We are also doing our registration because it is same Labour Party, same membership. We don't want to be caught, napping. We don't want to be caught unaware, towards the May 10th, the last revolution of a political party. So that is just that. Is not, conferring form of legitimacy on an illegal body referring to themselves as the national caretaker, which is not in our constitution and which is not even in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because Section 223 provided for periodic election, not caretaker. It has been forbidden, and we even have a Court of Appeal judgment in respect of that forbid parties being headed by any caretaker group. And also, this caretaker they are talking about was formed by Obi as national chairman and Governor Lesotho as national secretary. And this was the reason why, when we look at that judgment, that is when you see the edge of judicial rascality, being promoted in our judicial system. And we are shocked, we are shocked. There are not of inconsistency, though we are waiting to pick the CTC of that judgment. That judgment will not only be studied in Nigeria, the three justices also will still have themselves to explain something to the international community. We just want to have the citizens so that they can be sent to the people we have spoken to in the US, in the UK, and in Canada. Because this is a time, that we have to put in the right perspective. When a matter comes before judges from the federal court, you don't abandon, the cause of that matter from the federal court. You now, so to raise your own. When two people go before a court, if the people want, let me say a couple want a dissolution of marriage, the judge don't go into their property, for God's sake. You don't go into, to some other thing. When they say they want to dissolve their marriage, you don't talk about dissolution, you are talking about property. You are talking about their in-laws, you are talking about, some other thing. You just abandon this resolution. Do you still want them to go, to stay until when one kill the other? You just veer up, you are raising some funny issues. But because we have not seen the CTC, they will be shocked about what's going to happen to that, and we also appeal to Supreme Court. Supreme Court, we don't agree with what that justice I've forgotten her name, read, because there are a lot of inconsistency. But because, like I said, we have not seen it, it's not going to stand. They are just on a temporary, platform that they are using. Though they have resources we don't have, it doesn't matter. 6 versus 1, we don't matter. We'll still proceed to Supreme Court to go and argue out our right. And I know Supreme Court will do justice to that, because in Nigeria, Supreme Court must protect, those. Some people felt they are above, so some people felt we have to serve them from the position of servitude, which is very, very unconstitutional and unfair. We know Supreme Court will do justice to that, as Supreme Court will never want some of us to now seek asylum
But Mr.
We don't want to go to seek asylum in US or UK because there is no justice in our country. Supreme Court will not want that. So we are going to appeal, to Supreme Court over that.
Speaking of Supreme Court, the appeal court in its judgment aligned with the Supreme Court verdict of this time last year, which settled the leadership dispute, particularly hinging its decision on the fact that party affairs should remain internal party affairs. And so what are you hinging your expectations on should you appeal this again? Is it not reinventing the wheel?
No, Supreme Court said leadership that party lack jurisdiction. That's why I said we want to see, the CTC. If court lack jurisdiction, it happened in NDC, it happened in PDP, where they said court lack jurisdiction. This is exactly what Supreme Court says. That we lack jurisdiction to entertain. When a court lack jurisdiction, you don't proceed to do any other thing. You don't now begin to do findings. And that was what Justice Peter Lifu did. Supreme Court did not, I repeat, say that the tenure of Abure expired, because that means they will have delved into the issue of the party, internal affairs of the party. The admonition they were giving was what most of the people misconstrue as a judgment. Judgment don't advise. Judgment is assertive. But when people now decided to abandon the main course and they now veer up, the road to just be feeding public with lies, we are not pet up. They did not. Supreme Court, that judgment was not based on Supreme Court. It was just based on heresy, on hearsay by Justice Peter Lifu. Because in his own judgment, he agreed he didn't have jurisdiction. Court of Appeal did not veer into that also. They did not discuss that because Justice Peter Lifu also said in his judgment that they seek interpretation of Supreme Court judgment. No court is allowed to interpret Supreme Court judgment. No court. The President of Court of Appeal is listening to me, and even the Chief Justice of Nigeria is listening to me. No court is allowed. No court, I said, is allowed to interpret the Supreme Court judgment. If something is not clear, what you need to do is to go back to that Supreme Court and seek interpretation. But for a judge of a lower court, federal court, to now be interpreting the judgment of my lord, the Justice of the Supreme Court, is three volume, and yet the Court of Appeal decided to, agree with what Justice Peter Lifu said, but they are not the Supreme Court because they are talking about Supreme Court. No problem. When we get to Supreme Court, if Supreme Court now say, oh, we have now reversed ourselves, we have now changed our rule that federal court can now reverse judgment of Supreme Court. I will clap because we have a lot of cases that will now run back to Supreme Court to invalidate. We have a lot of cases. All right. There are a lot of people who have been, because I'm a litigant, are now piling up. Once Supreme Court said we reversed ourselves in this case, we have a lot of court now that will now go to federal court and will now cite that authority. So now you're reversing a lot of the judgment of Supreme Court so that it can come into the favor, of the people that have lost earlier.
I want to step back for a moment because I know that most times we have conversations with politicians in Nigeria. We spend most of the time talking about one litigation, disagreement, dispute or the other. So imagine we had 10 minutes to talk about something that will move or things that will move the nation forward. We spend 7 minutes talking about disputes, and then we have just about 2 minutes to talk about real issues that will move our nation forward. And here goes my question. It's sort of a personal reflection that I decided to ask you. And it is this: what is fundamentally wrong? What is fundamentally broken with politicians that instead of having conversations or deliberations to move your party and the nation forward, it's about disputes, almost like infants. There's always some disputes, such that we have now clogged up the courts with political cases of parties trying to resolve who is the leader, who did the right thing, who didn't do the right thing. And these are not only adults, but elders in most of the cases. And then they go in front of the courts like infants, line up and say, well, this is what is wrong, help us solve it. I mean, doesn't it disturb you? What is broken? What is wrong with politicians and politics in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. You see, let me say this very clear. whoever, pontificate on a lofty principle idea of decency, you don't turn around to say that principle is no more realistic. We have in our political system the architect of our mystery in the past coming again, with a prescription for solution. The people who are poisoning the system are now coming as a physician to say, oh, we have a solution to it. Whenever you see people who have resources, they believe every other person must serve them for the position of servitude. And that we will not agree. We are all equal before the Constitution. We are all equal before the law. And that was the way God wanted it. So when people come into a party, I will draw two examples. Look at ADC, the congresses they did some 5 days ago. Do you know they have parallel congresses? It was not before David Mark and Arabambi came. But what they did was that they have their mindset with Peter Obi. So they now set up a parallel executive to go and remove other people there. Can you tell me, what do they have? What is the quality that Arabambi want to tell he has in Nigeria? What is the quality that Mark want to tell he has in Nigeria? What is the quality that Obi want to claim he has in Nigeria? The same thing in Labour Party. Himself and Alessoti, they were in Afghan. They were pursued out of Afghan. They went to PDP. They are trial manner of party until when they came to Labour Party. And what do they want us? They say all of us should leave. They have the people that they want to work with. It is bad that you are not going to accept that. That is the fulcrum of most of the crisis we have, in the political party, where some people felt, oh, we have bought these people. Let us now bring in our own group to monitor, to administer, that party. Nenadi Usman is a member of Peter Obi in the finance sector during our campaign. We all knew what transfer between us and Peter Obi, how himself and all manner of human rights and peace and dodo activists began now to mop themselves up, and they want to push us out of Labour Party.
Mr.
And that
Arabambi,
was what has transcended into the crisis.
your positioning and your posturing as a saint in this, and I totally get it. And my people will say, if you were given a hoe, you always ensure that whatever you're hoeing comes to your side. But from what we have seen, there are no saints in that sense, because everybody has a blame to take. And I wonder, more reflections, Mr. Arabambi, and I'm not trying to blame anybody, it's just what we've seen. In fact, if you go to the courts and you have a proper case, they'll tell you, oh, we have political cases, so we don't have dates for you. And you're thinking, Nigeria is not just about politics. So is it a function of the fact that we don't have our very best being a part of politics? So when they say, when the desired is not available, the available becomes the desired. Is that where the challenge is? Should we have some of the best of us now saying, let me actively become a part of politics? Those who are doing well either in the private sector, who are doing well in their professions. Do you think that will solve all of this if we have them saying, I want to be a part of politics now?
You see, normally we ought to have, leaders, who must have retired, from politics. But today, they recycle themselves. Like I was saying before, if we have somebody as a commissioner for 8 years, governor for 8 years, minister for 8 years, for God's sake, and that person still want to retain himself, in the political space, how will people like you now got a space, to bring in your idea that will move our country forward? I'm talking of Babarafu. Now, what about Rotimi Amechi, a speaker, a governor, and a minister? And he said, I am hungry, I am angry. They still want to come back, to rule by force. This is the problem that we have with our political class. So they were supposed to have at least leave the stage for younger people to come, but because they have, enough resources, they believe we must be in the corridor of power where we are going to have free fuel, free food, free everything, by themselves. And that is the bane of our problem. I just give you instances. If I tell you now, the states that have gone to court in ADC, there are more than 31 that have gone to court, over the congresses. That these are the people that say, oh, we are Democrats. We want to do the needful. But they want to
Is this about Labour Party or ADC? Pardon me. Oh, we're talking about your party. Are you in ADC now?
No, I'm giving you an instance. I said over 30 something. So that by the time their own comes out, you will not be saying, oh, these people are being sponsored by so. These people are being sponsored by. I am only giving you, answer to your question that what is the problem with political class? I said they normally wanted people they meet in that political party to serve them from the position of servitude, and we people will refuse. We are going to reject it because many of them say can even come to Nigeria that, oh, this is the way I made my money. They probably can be living on government, so you don't come with government money
Mr.
to not do
Arabambi,
your political arakiri against us.
Mr. Arabambi,
Yes.
just to add to what my colleague has asked you, I think all the politicians are almost the same. I know you
So we are
picked,
some of us are
no,
different.
just hold on, sir. You picked Rotimi Amechi Ralph Aregbesola. The president himself served and became governor, and he aspired. He's within his right. He aspired to be president, and he was fortunate enough to be president. Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State, he got to the point where he became minister. In fact, let's even talk, because you pointed other parties, I just want to show you that it cuts across board. Yayi, for instance, who now is a consensus candidate in Ogun State, served as a member of the assembly, I think in Lagos, in House of Reps. He served in Senate in Lagos and served in Senate from Ogun State. And now he's running for governor of the state. So everybody seems to be doing the same thing. So on that premise, it falls flat on his face. As far as this politics is concerned, maybe for any other person who was uncontested, maybe you can put that argument. But besides that, you are also being looked at as part of the problem. And I'll tell you why. Now you're fighting for your right as an aborigine of the party, because now I've classified those who've been in the party as aborigine, and the people who are coming in as settlers. So it's an aborigine settler fight, whether it's ADC, LP. I think the only place that doesn't have that problem is APC, because they came as a merger. You are saying that for other elected position, you will be supporting the Labour Party. But when it comes to the presidential election, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll be supporting the president. Am I correct?
Yes.
So what exactly are you doing that others are not doing? This is clear case of anti-party activity.
No, you asked me a question.
Yes, so I just want to establish it, then you respond. Forgive me. If you stay in your party and you're supporting another party, isn't that a clear case of anti-party activity? So you're also not a saint.
Okay, thank you very much. We have rotational, presidency in Nigeria, and in 2023, I didn't vote for president. Parliament, I voted for Peter Obi. But at the end of the election, we saw that they only came to cash out from our party, which we have raised on your station to challenge Obi to come and produce the account regarding those 4 bank accounts, where I told him we have $15 million, 12 billion. Up to today, Obi has not raised this issue concerning it. He knew, we know. But he came to our party, even though we were advised by Professor Charles Oludo, he wrote us a letter that guy is coming to scam you. He's not coming for election, but at the end of the day, we didn't listen, and we failed in 53,000 polling units, where we have 4.8 million votes. And the court threw that away. If we have added 4.8 million to his 6-point-something million, we would have won that presidency. But Obi came to do business in our party, and that was why they created that crisis with him and Governor Lesoti. They created that crisis intentionally, thinking that he can come back, and we now say rather than for us to again be deceived the second time, for Peter Obi, he ran to ADC without even resignation in Labour Party. We now said, okay, rather than that, the president belongs to Southwest. I cannot vote for any Northerner in 2027. I will not. I cannot vote for any Southeasterner in 2027 because it is the turn of the Southwest. I'm a Yoruba man fair because I'm in Nigeria. I'm from Owu, I'm from Abeokuta. I'm a Yoruba man, then I'm from Nigeria. I have now said that there is no way we can have anybody running under the platform of the Labour Party, even for governor, for House of Reps, for Senate, because of the crisis that they intentionally created in our party. And if they think they want to have their way to bring Peter Obi back into Labour Party, you say you are wasting your time. Hey, we will rather continue with the Southwest presidency, because who is going to buy form except you want to come and buy form? We will be happy, but I know you are not going to throw.
No, I'm not interested.
40 million into the party. You are not going to throw. You have 40 million into the party.
I'm not interested in politics.
No, we can donate money for you to come and.
I'm not interested.
Well, I don't know. So that was the reason
you're the politician, why, yes.
No, why we said we will support Parliament so that the Southwest can continue their 8 years. We have to complete that 8 years. Then let it go to the north. Not like the Syria vice president who have been contesting against every southern candidate at every election. But we believe the Southwest has to complete their term. There is no reason why any northerner should buy against Tinubu. It is not justiciable at all. It is not. They ought to allow the southern party, the southern area of our Nigeria, to struggle it out among themselves, just like we did in 2023, which Obi actually threw off because it was because we didn't have agent in 53,000 polling units due to Aisha Yusufu, Antis, and Peter Obi, which we didn't know that causes of 4.8 million votes, because where you don't have agent, your result will not be admissible in line with the Electoral Act. So we now said, okay, this time around, we are not going to be sleepily following Peter Obi. Let's, think very well. Let's do some juxtaposition so that we know for us to move our country forward. We will not go out and be putting anybody who considers himself as a scammer and who even think, he's wiser than everybody. He has no fault, according to him. We don't have an agreement with that. But for us, Southwest has to complete their 8th term. Nothing must stop it. And since we have a Southwest president, we have to support it. And that's why I said for governor, for Senate, for House of Rep, for House of Assembly, it is our party. And that's exactly what we are going to do. And Governor Zoti shared this thought, with us. We have had a meeting where he said he's not going to oppose President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presidency in 2027. He accepted
Mr. Arabambi.
I saw people there, when he was doing the press something in his office there. So there is nothing bad if he agree with that, and we also agree with that. I don't think we have sinned against anybody. I for me, I'm not going to vote for any status candidate or any other candidate.
Mr. Arabambi, I'd like to appeal to you to please show some decorum in your use of language for those you referred to in your commentary, especially because they're not here to defend themselves. And whatever you say that is, seems to be aspersions on their personality will remain in the realm of allegations. So we do not incur any responsibility for your comments. I'd like to just put it out there that you are the National Vice Chairman Southwest of the Labour Party. That's how we introduced you. But to double down my colleague's concern that you perhaps are part of the problem, if you are in the Labour Party and you are supporting the candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the presidential election, your position is that you want to support a candidate from the Southwest. But are you also the state convener of the Sustainability of Ogun and Dapo Abiodun Legacy Beyond 2027 group? And this is reminiscent of the Labour Party's allegations in 2023 that you were being used by the All Progressives Congress to destabilize the Labour Party.
Well, thank you very much. You see, our position regarding that most people don't know, is that we are trying to protect our legacy. We have an issue in Ogun State, and if anybody say, Dapo Abiodun is using me to destabilize the Labour Party, they have to come with fact and not, fiction. Our position here is that the last election goes to to Remo Federal Constituent, Remo,
Mr. Arabambi.
Ogun East.
Mr. Arabambi.
Which was Dapo Abiodun. People are now saying, it has to go to Ogun West. But we from Ogun Central are also now challenging that we have the capacity to sustain that legacy beyond Dapo Abiodun in 2023. I am an Egba man to the core, and I am part of the Egba local. That's what they don't understand. We also have a candidate that we want to use, but from Egba. Egba, we are one body. Are you getting me? Separated by the constitution. But our position is that Egba also has interest. And that was why we are saying we want to sustain that, the legacy beyond Dapo Abiodun is going to, leave office in May 2029. Governor Abiodun is my brother. During our election, every one of you know, you will see Peter Obi going to this governor who say, is my friend, this one is my friend, so nobody can say I should not, relate with my brother.
All right, Mr. Arabambi, are you the convener of the Sustainability of Ogun and Dapo Abiodun Legacy Beyond 2027? I'd just like you to confirm or deny that.
I can't hear you well.
Are you the convener of the Sustainability of Ogun and Dapo Abiodun Legacy Beyond 2027? Are you the convener of that group?
I am the convener. I've just explained to you.
All right. So
about
you are at the national vice chairman Southwest of the Labour Party. Governor Dapo Abiodun is a governor under the auspices of the All Progressives Congress. So are you not working against the interest actively on many fronts, both at the presidential level and in your state, working against the interest of the Labour Party?
No, let me tell you, we have a governorship, aspirant who will soon be a governorship candidate of our party in person of Sheku Shomi is from Egbalake. When we are talking about legacy, the governor we have now is doing a lot. We have the airport, we have Gateway Airline, we have the Tongeji, we have the Eba Oil. A lot of companies has come. It is a legacy that is going to bequeath to Ogun State. How do we sustain it? We are now saying that we must put in the right person there to sustain that legacy, and that person will have to come from Egba. That's what we are saying. A lot of people don't understand. I am an advocate of Egba agenda.
So are you saying that the Labour Party would not have?
I'm an advocate of
Shouldn't you be supporting a Labour Party candidate in your state?
Yeah, we have. I said our candidate is going to be from Egbalake. They have picked their consensus from Ogun West. I am not part of that team. We are from Egba agenda. We have ourselves, and we are still championing that cause. It's not going to be an election that all of us will now go square off, with each other. When they will present their candidate in Yewa, we will present our candidate from Egbaland. Are you getting my point now?
Mr. Arabambi, I get your point. It's a redefinition of political party values the Nigerian way from your explanation clearly. But we must anchor the conversation at this point. And thank you very much. Mr. Abayomi Arabambi is the National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the Labour Party. Thank you for your time on the morning brief.
Okay, thank you and good morning. No, it's not audible. I didn't answer your question very well.
All right, we'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll delve into other matters just as important. The outcomes of governance in the Federal Capital Territory. Stay with us, we'll be right back.